Imagine you're buying NFL tickets online. You find great seats, $50 each. You add them to your cart. By the time you hit checkout, the price is $100 each. Where did that extra $50 go? Hidden fees, of course. Service fee, order processing fee, facility charge, delivery fee. You didn't agree to any of these. You don't see them until you're about to check out, and you're going to pay them because what else are you going to do? Well, it's obviously not an accident you're paying these fees. 2 weeks ago, the Federal Trade Commission settled a case against StubHub, the biggest ticket resale platform in America, and the details of what they found will make you even more upset. Before we get into what StubHub did specifically, you need to understand how this has become standard practice across the entire ticketing industry. These ticketing companies advertise a ticket at a low price, something that feels reasonable, something that gets you to click. Then, throughout the checkout process, you slowly reveal the real price. By that point, you've already invested time, you've picked your seats being held only for a limited time, and the price, while higher than you expected, isn't so much higher that you're going to go through the whole process again somewhere else. So you pay, and they win. Ticketmaster's own executives internally called this a bait and switch. Internal communications obtained during the DOJ antitrust case confirmed that Ticketmaster knew exactly what these fees were doing, and did it anyway because it worked. These fees can add up to 44% on top of the already marked up price. Now that we have some background, let's focus on the StubHub. On April 9th, 2026, the Federal Trade Commission announced a $10 million settlement with StubHub after discovering the company had deliberately hidden mandatory fees from customers during one of the biggest ticket buying moments of the year. On May 12, 2025, a new FTC rule went into effect requiring all ticket sellers to display the full price, including all mandatory fees, up front from the very first screen. No more hiding fees until checkout. StubHub knew this rule was coming. They had been told about it. They had even publicly claimed to support the new all-in pricing. But what did they actually do? They didn't comply, not fully. And the timing of when they chose not to comply tells you everything you need to know about what kind of company StubHub really is. May 14th, 2025, 2 days after the new rule went into effect, was the day the NFL announced its 2025 season schedule. One of the single biggest ticket buying events of the year, millions of fans rushing to find seats for their team's games. Internal StubHub communications obtained by the FTC showed that company executives knew exactly what that day meant. They described the NFL schedule release internally as a, quote, 99th percentile traffic event. Translation, the biggest possible day for ticket sales. Hundreds of millions of dollars in transaction flowing through their platform in a matter of hours. StubHub executives made a calculated decision. They weighed the risk of getting caught violating the new fee transparency rule against the competitive advantage of showing lower prices than rivals who are actually complying with the law, and they chose to keep hiding the fees. The FTC didn't just find them, they obtained the internal documents proving it was intentional, proving executives knew, and proving they did it anyway. A $10 million settlement, which sounds like a lot until you realize how much money actually flows through StubHub on a single NFL schedule release day. While StubHub's the one getting caught right now, the entire live ticketing industry has been operating this way for years. Live Nation Entertainment, the parent company of Ticketmaster, controls roughly 2/3 of the entire US live entertainment market. They own the venues, they own the ticketing platform, they promote the concerts, and they control who can sell tickets and under what terms. For years, venues that wanted to use a competitor to Ticketmaster were threatened. Long-term contracts kept them locked in. The DOJ accused Live Nation of using, quote, threats, retaliation, and other tactics to suffocate competition. In May 2024, the Department of Justice, joined by 40 state attorney generals, filed an antitrust lawsuit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster, the largest antitrust action against a live entertainment company in U.S. history. The trial began in March 2026. A federal jury just found this month that Live Nation held an illegal monopoly and violated federal and state antitrust laws. The judge will now determine the remedy, which states have asked to include forced divestiture. That means potentially breaking up one of the most powerful companies in entertainment. Ticketmaster sells 500 million tickets per year in more than 30 countries. Between 2019 and 2024 alone, Ticketmaster generated $82.6 billion in ticket sales on its online platform. Now think about how much of that was hidden fees. If the average fee adds even 20% to the ticket price across that $82.6 billion, that's over $16 billion extracted from fans through pricing practices that a federal jury has ruled were illegal. A greedy extraction of wealth from millions of ordinary people who just wanted to go to a concert or a game. The industry punishes companies for being honest with you, because when everyone hides fees, showing the real price first makes you look expensive, even if you're actually the same price as everyone else. So where does this leave us? The $10 million StubHub settlement is a start. If you bought NFL tickets on StubHub between May 12th and 14th, 2025, you may be eligible for a refund. The FTC is required to notify eligible customers within 90 days of the settlement, so watch your email if you made a purchase during those 3 days. The Live Nation antitrust case is a much bigger deal. A federal jury has found the company guilty. The judge still has to determine the remedy, and the states are pushing for a full structural breakup. If Ticketmaster is forced to separate from Live Nation, it could fundamentally reshape the entire live events industry. But here's the truth. Even if Ticketmaster gets broken up, the problem won't disappear overnight. The practices are embedded in how the industry makes money. As long as fans keep paying, the incentive to hide fees remains. What actually changes things is enforcement, and the new FTC's fees rule requiring all-in pricing from the first screen is now law. So this settlement is the first major enforcement action under the rule, and every other ticket platform is now watching. The real question is whether the current administration keeps this enforcement going. The fees rule was a Biden-era initiative. Its future depends on whether the FTC continues to treat hidden fees as the consumer fraud they are. So next time you're at checkout and a ticket that says $50 suddenly costs $100, you know exactly what happened and why. It's a calculated business decision made by executives who weigh the cost of being honest with you against the profit of hiding the truth, and they choose profit every time. The good news is that for the first time in a long time, the government's actually doing something about it. A $10 million fine and a guilty verdict against Live Nation. Whether it's enough to change the industry that's been doing this for 30 years, different question. If you've ever felt ripped off buying tickets online, drop a comment below. I guarantee you have a story. And if you want more videos pulling back the curtain on how money actually moves in the dark, subscribe.